The White House says its historic decision is intended to show peace through strength. President Trump signaling for a willingness to renew peace talks with Iran. He'd previously given that country 60 days to reach a deal. Iran's nuclear program said to be crippled after 3 critical sites were taken out by American bombs in a secretive mission dubbed Operation Midnight Hammer. Last night's surprise attack came just as the conflict began more than a week ago when Israel took Iran by surprise, launching an aerial assault targeting nuclear and military facilities. Both nations have sustained widespread damage and casualties. We begin tonight with Fox's Rebecca Castor, who breaks down the timeline of this bold mission.
President Trump planned to decide whether to hit Iran's nuclear sites within 2 weeks. Instead, he struck just 2 days later.
A wave of missiles targeting Israel, retaliation from Iran for American strikes on its nuclear facilities.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
At approximately 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:10 a.m. Iran time, the lead B-2 dropped 2 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator weapons on the first of several aim points at Fordow.
Using bunker buster bombs and Tomahawk missiles, U.S. military forces struck 3 Iranian nuclear sites, including one buried deep inside a mountain.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
My country has been under attack, under aggression, and we have to respond.
President Trump warned of more attacks if Tehran does not negotiate a peace deal.
We will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
The president monitored the strikes from the Situation Room alongside Vice President J.D. Vance and senior advisors. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised President Trump's decision.
President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength.
But there are fears this could spark a broader regional war, and some lawmakers are questioning the president's authority to order the strikes.
The only entity that can take this country to war is the U.S. Congress.
Before the attack, the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem started organizing evacuation flights for Americans wanting to leave Israel. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
So newly released satellite images of the Fordow nuclear enrichment site in Iran show unusual activity in the days leading up to yesterday's attacks. Vehicles were seen coming and going from the facility that, as you heard, is buried in a mountain. 16 cargo trucks are seen in the pictures from June 19th along the site's access road. The very next day, one truck is directly next to the main tunnel entrance. While the significance of this all is not clear, key nuclear locations were reported to have been evacuated at the time. This is new video captured the moment stealth bombers were dropping. The stealth bombers that dropped the bombs actually returned home. The B-2 bombers flew back to the Whiteman Air Force Base, that's in Missouri. 7 B-2 Spirit bombers were used to fly east into Iran. Another group of B-2s were also used to fly west over the Pacific. As we now know, those were decoys. The total mission, some 18 hours. Tonight, Iran's supreme leader is vowing revenge on the United States, and President Trump, including his administration, threatening that country with additional strikes if the regime further escalates. Fox 4's Amelia Jones continues our coverage now with analysis from a list of experts she talked to. Fascinating conversations, Amelia.
Extremely fascinating, Casey. Across the globe, people are watching and waiting with anticipation to see how Iran responds to this attack. All day, I've been talking with experts in foreign policy, constitutional law, and a retired military general to get a better understanding of the implications this attack could have at home and abroad. President Donald Trump and his senior advisors called Operation Midnight Hammer a success. The mission targeted 3 nuclear sites in Iran. 125 U.S. military aircrafts were used to support the operation, including bombers, fighters, refuelers, and surveillance planes. Retired Major General Jim Williams says the operation as a whole is not an unusual operation for the U.S. military. And the bunker buster bombs that were used are effective, but to target something underground is very difficult.
So if you think about mining takes a big effort to dig through a mountain, to do cold mining and so forth and so on. So these bombs are effective to a point, but whether they actually destroyed these sites, that's still yet to be seen.
Damage assessments are expected to be done. All the while, the world waits to see how Iran will respond.
This regime is scared to make any concessions for fear that they will lose power. And so coming to the negotiating table now in this humiliated position is something they will not tolerate.
Ralph Carter is a political science professor at Texas Christian University. He's taught a class focused on conflict in the Middle East for 30 years. Carter says he expects Iran counterattacks in the coming days. He also says Iran could retaliate by closing the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the exported global oil goes through. In fact, Iran's parliament has already taken steps to do so.
But it doesn't have to happen if Iran's leadership decides that a symbolic military response against American interests is sufficient to keep them from being humiliated. So a sharp but small response might be something they could sell to their own people as, well, we struck back at the Great Satan.
Regardless, Carter says the American people should expect oil prices to go up.
I think what happens next is I think we will see attacks on U.S. military personnel scattered around the Middle East. I think we will see oil prices go up, as they probably already have today. I think we will see inflation go up, not just in the United States, but globally.
Another possibility is Iran could respond with cyber attacks or conduct an attack at a U.S. military base outside the Middle East. Major General Williams says military bases across the country are on high alert, and that vigilance should trickle down to our local communities.
So I think you just have to be alert. You know, all of our military folks will have to be alert. Our police officers have to be alert. Our neighborhood watches have to be alert.
Williams adds it's not out of the question that someone could commit a domestic attack in response to the U.S. involvement.
Now, if you think that you're home and that you're safe, I would say, look, right now you are, but I would say pay attention to what's going on, where you are, how you travel, all of those things. Think safety and have a plan, because you never know.
Another question up in the air tonight is, will Iran get any help from other global powers like China and Russia? Both countries condemn the U.S. and the attack, so while the rhetoric is showing some support, it's unclear right now if that support will turn into actual tangible goods. Casey, back to you.
Yeah, Fox 4's Amelia Jones. More than 24 hours now since this news broke, and still so many unanswered questions. Amelia, thank you.